Hello, everybody. Live from Paramount Studios in Hollywood, California, it's the OZone. Coming at you with a hot shot. Talking about this weekend's activities in the world of boxing. Man, oh man, did we see one guy do something great and one guy do something absolutely stupid, which we were concerned with. The big fight happened this weekend, folks, and once again, the British champion Anthony Joshua is the number one heavyweight in the world because he regained his titles in not so spectacular fashion, to be honest, but in a fashion that was very effective, very smart, good work by him and his trainer. But unfortunately, it seems like the bigger story is the fact that his opponent came in enormously overweight and totally unprepared mentally for the fight. What was your take on what Andy Ruiz did, Icons?
Well, what they're saying was that he wasn't really actually that much overweight. What is 11 to 16 pounds or something, which is a lie. But he was at 283, bumping on 284, and he actually looked...
That was on the day of the weigh-in.
He looked terrible.
He looked like he was like 350.
Physically, he looked terrible.
He looked really bad.
I mean, to the point where he couldn't even hold up his arms, man.
By the 12th round, he admitted.
You're giving him credit. I saw it around the 8th or 9th.
Yeah.
The dude started wiggling his arms like, what are these things on my body?
Yeah.
what are these for? What are these things for? And they're actually to swing with, because they're paying you a lot of money to come to Saudi to swing them, to chunk them.
And this is what we were talking about. This is what we were talking about. When we were talking about it, about the rematch before the fight, this is what we said. Are the trappings of success too much for this young man? And it proved that it was.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Trap
it's
game.
A temptation. This is exactly why you have to respect the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants.
The Anthony Joshua's, because he was the champion for so long, and he stayed there winning the way that even when you get Deontay Wilder as well. It's hard to be
Deontay Wilder, yeah.
It's hard to be the champ.
It's hard to be the champ.
And then we look at the
look, he gave you a great Riddick Bowe.
Well, but look at this, though. Then we talk about the lineal champ. This is why the lineal champ doesn't really stand up for me, because that means that he couldn't take the pressure that it takes to be the champ.
He gave up the belts.
He gave them up because he couldn't take it. I mean, and it takes a lot to stay in that seat.
And he didn't even have one defense.
Not even one.
Tyson Fury, we're talking about, folks, if you don't know. Tyson Fury sang his wife, "Can you feel the love tonight?" in the ring, and immediately reported to his cocaine dealer.
Right.
And started getting high and started eating, said he ballooned up to 450 pounds or something like
Which
that.
It looked like he did.
And he was 6'9" at least. Andy Ruiz, keeping it on focus, Andy Ruiz looked terrible. Andy Ruiz, he really... To me, this was the worst of the one-hit wonders, if you want to call it that. It's not like Andy Ruiz is 33-2 now. Let's not lose sight on focus. Yeah. Andy Ruiz is a good boxer. Andy Ruiz Jr. is a good boxer. He let his team down. He let his father down. His father was disgusted by the situation.
I saw it.
I mean, his father was really, really angry about it.
I think, but you know, when you think about one-hit wonders, Oliver McCall was bad. He beat Lennox Lewis, right?
No.
Yeah,
Hasim Rockman beat him.
Yeah,
I don't think Oliver McCall had to break down in the ring. Yeah, he started crying.
That was the second fight against Lennox Lewis.
Was it? I thought he was winning that fight, and then he. Yeah.
But those are guys that literally, they literally did not take advantage of the opportunity. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity he made. Now, let's not cry Argentina for Andy Ruiz, because Andy Ruiz cashed
not asking anybody for a loan.
Right. He cashed in. He could have made it a lot better if he could have gave us a good showing, but he didn't want to do that.
He ate up at least $100 million. Maybe 250.
So you're telling me he ate himself out the league?
I don't know about out the league, but he ate himself out of this particular situation of riding the momentum of being the number one heavyweight, potentially being the heavyweight champ with all the belts, being the first Mexican-born Mexican heritage heavyweight ever champion. All of those things that you can decide he was. He is now just a champion of Snickers, pizza, and wings. And now, I'm no Adonis myself.
You're not?
But this, no, thank you, child. But this, but this situation, the reason I think this rubs so many people in the world of boxing the wrong way is because you could see the window that he had, even in poor shape, where he could have made this a competitive fight and potentially even won the fight himself. But the problem was, he refused to prepare. My man came out and said afterwards, he trained himself.
I told you, Chop.
Why?
Why? He trained himself, and then
that means his dad and his trainer and the chef and the nutritionist and everybody
were null and void.
Were at the gym waiting on him, and he didn't show up.
Well, that's because he was feeling himself, obviously. But the thing of it is that he said that he had Joshua hurt a couple times in the fight.
And you're right about that. Was the second fight when Oliver McCall had to break down the ring.
Yeah. And I did not believe that he was in trouble like that. To me, I
don't think he was in trouble like that. But Joshua, but you could see him being super punch shy.
Well, yeah,
not being his normal confident self.
He had to get his composure back. He got his confidence back. But to me, what was funny about the fight, if anything was funny, was literally watching Andy Ruiz looking for the reset button on Anthony Joshua after he got when Anthony Joshua came in here the second fight, he was going for the back of the ear.
That's all he wanted to do.
He hit him there a couple of times, and Anthony Joshua was like, what is that supposed to do to me? That was then. This not now. And it didn't work. And so, but he went dirty on him after that. He went rogue. He was a rogue agent at one point. He had to be warned about hitting behind the head and everything.
I don't know. See, now here's the problem I have with that. The problem I have with that is Anthony Joshua played into that. And the reason being is because Anthony Joshua, and I still think, and there's a conversation to be had about Anthony Joshua changing trainers. Sorry. And trainers. He should never.
Things has happened.
He should never play for the Texas Rangers anymore. He's terrible at shortstop. It's too big, dude. But no, about him changing trainers is because he has a limited skill set, but the things he does great, he does well, he does great.
I don't feel like he has a limit. I think he's the most complete heavyweight out there because he can do everything above average. And one of the biggest things that I feel like he needs to work on is his head movement. Other than that, I think that he has everything. And
he has a problem with bending at the waist. This is why he kept availing himself to getting hit behind.
But you know what? I'm gonna
he kept bending at the waist to dodge punches that had no other option except for to come wide and over the top.
But he's used to fighting guys almost his height.
Of course.
But this is the same thing when you take pictures with your fans. You take pictures with your fans, you usually kneel down.
My fans are not going to knock me out.
Yeah, but you don't know that.
Yeah,
they could be pissed.
I do.
They could be pissed. They don't like your last run.
I'll give them like $15 back. Or I put them to sleep. This has to be one or the other.
But you have this thing about bending, and I heard that Mora was talking about he needed to get low, and that's not what he needs to do.
Sergio Mora. Okay, let's go back to the Zone. Once again, the Zone had a great product and gave you a lackluster showing.
Yeah,
at least this time they didn't show guys taking a nap before the fight.
But they did pan the crowd for about 5 minutes.
A lot of Peter Pan going on.
Yo, Peter.
A lot of that. I was looking for Rufio. I didn't find it.
Rufio.
I just see my boy. Shout out to Dr. Bosco. Yeah, it's all in the mailbox. So he was doing that, and there was this, he kept bending at the waist, which availed him a couple times of punches, and Andy Ruiz decided to go to the kidneys a couple times when he was down there.
Body.
The whole nine gave him body. But ultimately, round by round, if you didn't see the fight, you didn't really miss anything. It was a domination package from the word go. Anthony Joshua came out with a very stiff jab and cut Andy Ruiz's eye. It looked like Andy Ruiz's eyeball was overweight because it cut his eye and he started leaking immediately.
Right.
I've never seen him leak like that before.
Have you ever seen anybody leak like that from?
I mean, that was immediate.
Like it was a razor blade in his glove.
Yeah, for real. That was one punch. That's a sharp jab.
It was a sharp jab. Sharp James.
The Booker man.
It was sharp. That thing, he tattooed him real quick too, and he established right then and there, this is what kind of night it's going to be. I'm standing out there and I'm going to box. He said afterwards that he wanted to do a throwback fight to the 70s. And that's what he showed you. He was on his feet. He popped his jab. He worked off of his jab, which is a lost art in the sport of boxing now. And he literally committed to the jab and 1-1-2'd him and 1-2'd him and 1-1-2'd him, went to the body every now and then. If anybody was hurt, Andy Ruiz got hurt a couple of times in that fight. And Anthony Joshua stayed committed to the game plan because he almost got caught up in mixing it up.
He did a couple times.
But he bounced back and he said, nope, I'm going to stick to the game plan. And that was something that he had to do, literally look like for himself.
Yeah. He just needed to see if he could take those punches.
Yeah. He was like, man,
they still hurt.
And of course, because heavyweights, you're talking about one punch can change any fight, regardless of whoever you are.
No doubt.
It's always been like that through the whole history of the sport. But he actually stood in there, weathered the storm. He had to get it out of his system. He showed that he's the best or one of the best heavyweights in the business. I know that everybody's
How do you have your heavyweights ranked right now?
You know what? Since Anthony Joshua took the L, I would have to put Tyson Fury up there, although he doesn't have a belt literally for myself. I don't buy into the lineal situation.
But his mind is right.
And he looked good. I saw a video footage of him. He looked really, really good.
He actually looked good in that last fight that he was in where they cut his eye after he cut his eye and he stopped messing around.
I want to see how his eye holds up after the fact. And that's the telltale.
Got quite a jab himself.
Yeah, but I don't think that Deontay Wilder's going to be able to beat Tyson Fury in this next bout. And I honestly feel like overall, with the body of work and the caliber of fighters that have been fought in the heavyweight division, Anthony Joshua is still the best. I don't buy into the fact
you had to put in Tyson Fury at the top.
Yeah, I'm changing. I'm going with. I'm going
quick. Chop.
Doesn't take long.
Very quick change.
Because when I look it over and I look at the body of work, Tyson Fury fought Klitschko. Okay, that's one on his resume. But who else has he fought? Deontay Wilder. He got the draw. I thought that he won the fight. But Anthony Joshua's resume, man, he's fought the cream of the crop. And I sort of feel like it's unfair to him in a sense because WC mandatories, I don't see a lot of those for Deontay Wilder. But for Anthony Joshua, now he's in line to fight two big other big opponents now. He has
immediately.
Immediately. And next
he's got to fight Usyk within the next 6 months.
And Pulev.
Yeah.
Right after that. So, it's not like he's going to get to take any time off or take any cream puffs or anything like that. And I agree with him what he said in the past is that if he took any of the fights that these guys have been taking, then they would run him out of town. But there's a standard that he set by getting the belts and stuff so fast that
he said that. And he said that in the post-fight conference. Here, we're going to play a clip of Anthony Joshua right now speaking in the post-fight conference.
He faced Carlos Takam on a week's notice. His WBA mandatory was Alexander Povetkin. Nobody wanted to fight Alexander Povetkin at the time. He took care of that mandatory as well. Kubrat Pulev is the IBF mandatory. Alexander Usyk is a WBO mandatory, and I see him wanting to take both of those fights as well. So we'll have to speak to the governing body, see who goes first, and then deal with that. Anthony will have a nice Christmas and holiday. We'll work behind the scenes and plan for the future.
Christmas, yeah, but holiday, I'm still training. That's the key to this business, is stay active. Stay in the gym. So I learned, being heavily promoting boxing, when I become champion after 16 fights, isn't it, like fighting twice a year, when a fighter needs to develop like 24 fights, I think they should fight for a championship. I learned that you can't spend a lot of time out of the gym. You have to kind of stay consistent. So a little holiday, yeah, but I'm going to stay consistent because that's going to lead me to another victory and another defense of my title.
And if what you notice from the champ there is what he's saying is, I got the belt in my 16th fight. Most guys around 24, 25 fights is when you should get the belt.
Right.
When you should have your growth. To me, it seemed like he was cognizant of the thing that I like the most about this is that Anthony Joshua comes off like a really good guy, a nice guy. Yeah. And he was encouraging Andy Ruiz afterwards. You could see he had restored his faith in himself. He was open about being embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Apparently there was some sort of health issue that he had to have a surgery on that was draining him. I wonder if some sort of autoimmune disorder or something like that. But the thing that I like is he really, if you listen to the whole 24-minute post-fight conference, he really analyzes himself in the context of boxing.
Right.
And he talks about his weaknesses, his strengths, his goals,
his strive for perfection.
Yeah. And he talked about how I'm no longer talking about Wilder and Fury. This is what gets me off track and off focus. I am talking about whoever I'm fighting next, and I'm making my own legacy.
And I'm staying in the gym.
And I'm staying in the gym. See, this is the thing. Eddie Hearn came out and said, yeah, we're going to party, we're going to do this. He said, actually, you know what? We're going to the gym. He goes, this is the key to this thing, is being in the gym. And he has a passion for fighting. And you can see while he was out there fighting Andy Ruiz, especially after he took a couple of punches, he licked his tongue, he stuck his tongue out at him and everything, and he was smiling and grinning while he was in the ring. Because that's his happy place right there. He gets to get away and gets to do what he loves to do. It's unusual for people to like that kind of thing, to get hit in your head. Yeah. But to each his own. Who am I to say you can't get hit in your head? He said a great thing when he was talking about how everybody said he should retire. And he asked Andy Ruiz, he said, Andy, you want to retire just because you lost? I didn't think so. And although I felt like he should have retired if he couldn't beat this version of Andy Ruiz because he was going to end up getting hurt. Well, if he fought his fight the first time, we wouldn't be speaking about Andy Ruiz anymore. But Andy Ruiz came out and did his thing. He took advantage of his opportunity. But clearly, and regardless of what everybody says in boxing, Anthony Joshua is one of the best heavyweights in the sport. Whether you like Deontay Wilder or that's not, or whatever. That's not even but what I heard behind the scenes is everybody saying that he was washed up, that he needed to retire. Yeah. I really can't remember one person who was actually a boxer or a professional in the sport that told me that he was going to actually win. They thought that the same thing that happened last time was going to happen this time. And then when people talk about his suspect chin, I have not seen one heavyweight out there to get hit with a good punch that didn't look like they got hurt. The big thing is to get off the floor when you do get hurt. And he does that. And even when he got beat up by Ruiz the first time, he got up 4 times. Sure did. And how about Andy Ruiz's chin? Jeez Louise.
Man.
That 286 or whatever he came in at really came into play. You know, let's going to play a clip for you now of Andy talking about his weight gain and the problems therein.
You know, I just should have trained harder, you know. There's no excuses. I think I looked past him. I thought it was going to be the same thing on June 1st, but we did work on some things, but I think for me being a lot heavier, I didn't perform at best.
What was your dad and your coach telling you to try to get you back in the gym and get you back on course?
You know, there's a lot of things that they're telling me, and I think the fame just got a little to me, you know, and you know, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy that I was the first Mexican heavyweight champion of the world, and I'm going to learn from my mistakes, and you know, I just got to bounce back. I've been through so many roller coasters in my life, and this is one of them, and I bounced back before. I'm going to bounce back again.
You keep talking about a third fight. Has anybody promised you that? Do you have any idea if that's actually going to happen?
We're going to work on that, and you know, I won one, he won one, and we are going to make a trilogy.
Thank you.
You know, I just should have trained harder, you know.
Yeah, but that whole thing about him, it's another form of excuse.
It is.
He's in control of that.
Fully. And there's no excuse as far as his nutrition.
And as a professional.
None of that. I agree.
And if you want to sustain yourself as a heavyweight champ, like he was talking the talk, he should have done what he was supposed to do, which was stay in some form of shape, not a oval, but stay in some form of shape.
I guess you got jokes.
and make the fight competitive, because honestly, it wasn't really competitive.
It wasn't competitive, and the truth of the matter is, Andy didn't even have to win this fight to get a trilogy.
Right.
And to just make the fight feel like it was worthwhile. How mad are you if you're Canelo Alvarez? Canelo Alvarez flew from Mexico City to Saudi Arabia to support his fellow Mexican compatriot, and he got let down. Now, this is one thing you could say about Canelo. Canelo's willing to eat the Mexican meat and do whatever else it is that he needs to do.
Willing to go to the next level.
And he's willing to take it to the next level, which on one level I always appreciate from a competitive guy, because what he's not going to do is to come in looking sloppy or get beat up just because he got beat up, but just because he didn't prepare.
Right.
He may get beat up, but it's not going to be because he didn't prepare.
Right.
You know, and I just, man, I'm so happy we didn't go to this fight.
Are you kidding? To go out there to watch this dude come out and not be the undercard.
And watch other sloppy heavyweights on the undercard.
Yeah. Come on, man. I don't know what's going on with the weight training, or not even the weight training, just the conditioning in general.
Just conditioning.
Because
it's
unacceptable. Get away with it for so long that they, just.
That's what it is. And the problem is that in all the other sports we watch, guys, if you don't know, you're watching heavyweights that are ripped.
Yes.
Major League Baseball players are the size of heavyweights. DJ LeMahieu would be a heavyweight.
What about Aaron Judge?
Super heavyweight.
Yeah.
Now that's a 280 that you need.
Giancarlo.
Ripped. 265.
Even Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger is a big guy.
Yeah.
He's a big guy. And so, and forget about the basketball players. These guys are giants. And the football players, you already know what time it is.
Yeah. We were just talking about it. LeBron James is actually bigger than Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
But you know what? You have to respect your sport, regardless of whatever it is, and be professional. And it's just a down goes Ruiz. Down goes Ruiz.
It was a down goes Frazier. They got you. Little Howard Cosell snuck out.
I went down the rabbit hole of being down.
You got lost.
Flashback, because this is just it's not good for the sport, and any excuse that he wants to apply is not acceptable.
Not acceptable.
And you know what? He messed up his cheese. Okay, let's stay there. He messed up. But then after he messed, now what? He's asking for
that nobody wants to see.
I don't want to see that.
I will not watch that.
You showed me that you wouldn't prepare for the second.
This is the problem. You show me that you're not serious about this event that, I mean, 1 million guys are training for right now. An actual 1 million guys would like to be the heavyweight champion of something, of UFC,
right,
of WWE,
right,
of the boxing, you name it. And you showed me that the good timing couldn't be postponed. Nobody's saying don't have a good time.
There's a time and place for everything.
You could have good timed for a month. You had a good time for 3 to 4 months, and then what ends up happening is you're surprised when you can't perform at the highest level. So now why would I reinvest my time when you've shown me it's not worth your time?
Right. to prepare. Abel Sanchez had called him out earlier, telling him that he needed to quit partying, and you know.
I've heard a lot of guys say it. They did a good job of keeping it under wraps.
Right.
But I heard a lot of guys say it, and I have to say, even at the weigh-in, when he weighed in his black shirt or his sombrero, his black tank top, I thought, well, he doesn't really look that different. I saw a little bit extra weight on his face. But when he came and did the ring walk and took his shirt off, I mean, he's about to get knocked out. I was on Twitter with Andre Ward about it, talking about that.
Oh, what did Ward say?
No, he was talking about, he said, man, my man just weighed in at 283. And I said, that is evidence of a lot of good timing. And he just put up the eyes. Like, yeah, you see it. This is,
and he paid for it.
And
there is no free ride.
Matter of fact, he had a great thing that he said. He said something to the effect of, and at the end of the day, everybody was concerned with Anthony Joshua and his chin and his abilities and this, that, and the other. And come to find, the only opponent that he actually had to beat was already defeated by Andy Ruiz Jr. not being able to step away from the plate and the table.
True story.
Unbelievable. And on the rest of that card, we saw sloppy big man work, but we did get to see DeLeon White jump in.
Which is sloppy.
Yes, but at 271. But what he did say about that is the reason he was sloppy is because he didn't think he was going to get to fight because he'd gotten that ban.
Yeah, but either way, it's not acceptable for him to ever get out of condition like that when he's in the top 10.
He's in the top 10. You could argue that he's in the 5. Yeah, I was about to say.
He's in the top 5, so it's not acceptable for him to come in juicy fruit.
Yeah. I'm very interested to see what my man Kognowski does.
I want to see him get busy. I think he's a problem for most of the heavyweights.
I do too, because he's got fast hands, and he's got a crazy chin.
And he's got crazy pop.
And he's got heavy hands.
Yeah.
He
walks everybody down.
Yeah.
He's a problem. I think that you could probably get him out of there with some cuts. So you need to do a good cut work on
cut creator or go to the body because he's soft and wet.
Yeah, but I think that he doesn't play. When we just saw him at the fight recently, the Deontay Wilder fight, he didn't even look juicy like that.
No, he looked like he lost some weight.
Yeah.
He leaned down.
Yeah, and
I told him to not lose any more weight, and his trainer was like, "Don't tell him that, bro."
He looks like a tree trunk right now.
Yeah, you don't want no smoke with him. He's a problem. Cat Michael Hunter was out there. I think it was Michael Hunter Jr. fought what's your man's name? Povetkin. And kind of staying there. How about the fact that Russia has now been banned from the Olympics, from the World Cup? They're banned from
everything.
TV. They're banned from the set.
Persona non grata right now.
They are banned in the USA.
It's crazy. I mean, they just won't do the right thing right now.
They just refuse to not dope. Their athletes must dope
to get a dub. But you know what? It showed when they caught them last time because I think they only won two medals.
Yeah. All of a sudden they're not in
obviously
competition.
It helps with your performance.
Yeah. Anyways, Povetkin put up a good fight. That was a good fight.
Was a good fight for an older guy too.
Yeah. And he said he was fighting for the money, so it showed. But that kid Pacheco was probably the most impressive of the night, you could say. The kid that knocked out the other guy before the fight.
Yeah, he was
right
really from South Central Los Angeles.
Man, that kid was real.
Oh, man, he looks good. He's got a future.
He looked like he was ready to get back on the plane and get to the crib because he didn't mess around with that joke. It looked like he killed that guy.
It looked like the dude was dead.
It looked like he was actually dead.
Poor fella.
Yeah. Man, I think he's all right now. But he could still be in the stands because that was a bad look. Man, that was a bad look. But then later on, because that fight took place in the daytime, later on we had Big Charlo, facing Charles Hogan.
He's coming for you.
He came for you. Hulk Hogan. Shout out to Booker T. Booker T is the homie, man. Even though he slipped up on he slipped up on national television around 98 with Hulk Hogan.
In all fairness, though,
Hulk Hogan's stand was extra crispy in 98. Oh my goodness, you never seen that clip? Just type in Booker T Hulk Hogan and laugh endlessly. Anywho,
Charlo took care of company business. He did his thing, man. He looked really, really good.
I think Charlo might be the best 160 in the world.
Yeah, he looks really, really good.
He looks really good. And with Gennady aging now, who's always going to be a problem just because he can punch.
Yeah.
And he also has
crazy experience.
There's experience. You're never going to show him anything new.
Right.
I don't think Canelo wants that smoke.
That's why they haven't got it on.
That's why they haven't got it on.
I mean, he's calling everybody out. He said he's here for everybody.
He said I'm the WBC champ. Yep.
I mean, whoever. I don't blame him, because when you're sitting at the top like he is right now, you want all comers. You want to get them while you're in your prime and while they're in their prime. No excuses. Let's mix it up.
His foot speed was great. His head movement was great. His punch accuracy was incredible. He hit him with a 45-degree angle shot that put him down. Right? It was like an uppercut hook.
Yeah.
And that actually made him do a somersault in the ring. He turned him into a ballerina.
Because it looked like it hit him partially on his chin and his chest or something like that, right?
Yeah, it was like his chin and his sternum or something. Didn't work out right for him.
Yeah.
And that guy's not a bad fighter, by the way.
No.
At 154, he's actually really good. And he stepped up and, he had a lot of problems.
But, when you do the right thing, you stay in the gym, you commit to the sport like these young guys have, the Charlo brothers, you're going to get the positive outcomes. And I'm looking forward to the Harrison-Charlo fight on the 21st.
Yeah, for sure. Side note, did you hear what Deontay Wilder had to say about the Anthony Joshua fight?
No, but what did he have to say?
Let me play it for you, dog.
Ruiz followed him all night long. And with a guy with such a long reach over you, you cannot just sit there and just follow him all night, or you gonna know what what's gonna happen. You're just gonna be a punching bag, as they call it, and just sit there and receive punches. And he did that all night, but supposed to have skills. I mean, I'm really, and then really just got me with Ruiz. It's not so much what he did in the ring. That was a big factor for me, what he did, because but also what he said as well, because as it was going on, one thing that I mentioned when I was doing an interview, on TV, and I was telling Ruiz, like, don't get comfortable with this. When he won, I congratulated him. I said, don't get comfortable, with this. So congratulations, but don't get comfortable with the lifestyle and stuff, because it can grab you. It can grab you, but you're just beginning. There's more to this. It can be more out here for you and your family, bro.
Absolutely.
Don't just dwell on this.
Would you say that the 15 pounds is him getting comfortable? The 15 pounds extra?
And that is exactly, and I said all that to say this. His ending remarks was, they was, you're like, oh, I ate too much.
Yeah.
And I could have trained a little bit harder. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? That is the exact opposite of what it takes to get. That's the opposite of what it takes to become a champion. What do you mean? But you was telling the world, you was telling us as you training, that you're not letting it get to your head and all that. Oh, how it's such a blessing, and it is. But you can't come and say the opposite and then say, but the rematch, the third fight, I promise I'm going to get in this gym and train. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Can't be mad at the champ.
Yeah, and I'm dead on with him, man.
Can't be mad at him. He's spitting the truth. Let's hear what he had to say as well to Ellie Seckback. Reporting.
A win is a win, no matter how it is, how it looked, whatever he did, what he had to do. But, for me, as being a champion, if you want to say you the man, you got to come in and tear shit up. That's what I'm thinking about. Like, especially if I got 6 inches of height advantage, I got 8 inches of rate advantage. I'm not finna run around the fucking ring. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to tear your ass up and get you out of there, or definitely put you in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna dominate. And for as another champion looking in on a former champion, and now became a champion, and how he became it is like, that shit boring as fuck. You know what I'm saying? There's only, when you look at that and you look at me and what I do and going to dominate these guys at the top level, I mean, it's day and night who's the man of the division. It's clear.
As you can see, Deontay Wilder is back on that Deontay, which means he feels threatened.
He feels threatened. He wasn't worried about Joshua. He was giving him all kind of ups and, to take care of yourself, man, and everything else. Now he got those bills back. He saw Ruiz get tattooed.
All of a sudden, he did Dr. Dre.
He saw Ruiz getting tattooed out there. Now it's like, man, now I got to fight this dude. I told you, I believe that he's afraid of Anthony Joshua in a lot of ways. It might not be physically, but it's something that Anthony Joshua intimidates him in some form or fashion. And I don't know what it is, because if you go back and fight fans, if you guys go back and watch Joshua beat Klitschko and Deontay Wilder calls the fight, and he actually likes his work.
He really enjoyed his work.
Yes, and now all of a sudden He took that loss, but he was talking crazy before he took the loss. So
yeah.
But I honestly, like I told you several times, if you offer him $120 million and he still can't fight him, first he started out at like 30, then it went to 40, then you got up to 120, and you still can't fight him, there's a problem. And that's not with the money, it's a problem with him.
Well, he's going to have a problem on his hands on February 22nd, and that problem's name is Tyson Fury.
And he needs to worry about that.
I am very interested to be at that fight. That's going to be a great fight. And we'll see if Deontay can pull the rabbit out of the hat again, because I expect him to get dominated with superior boxing skills again. And this time he's fighting a guy that's physically in his prime. And, you can never count him out.
Focus.
You can never count Deontay out.
He's got the knockout juice.
He got it.
Don't sleep.
He's got that juice.
Yeah, he can put you on your back, and you can definitely wake up and look at the lights. But I think that Tyson Fury will negate his right for a long period of time. And as you see, as the fight goes on, he'll wear down just like anybody else would, and he's going to have a problem. He's going to have a problem with a guy with a skill set. Tyson Fury has a boxing skill set.
Sure does.
He's fundamentally sound. It's going to be very, very hard for him to beat him.
But we'll see if that cut makes an appearance. If that eyeball holds up. But moving on, folks. As we told you at the beginning of the season, and they ran with, the NFL does not have parity. It has become clearer and clearer who is real and who's a pretender. Now, we didn't cover this last time because we didn't want to hurt any feelings, and he's been hiding from us, but we want to put an APB out on a character named Cowboy Kev.
Cowboy Kev, where are you? Are you okay?
Cowboy Kev, are you okay?
Cowboy Kev, are you okay? Are you okay, Cowboy?
Cowboy, are you okay? Oh, will you tell us? Okay. There's a sound in the window that Dak Prescott is losing. And it's all bad. Jason Garrett says just waiting to get out of there. Jerry Jones is running around cussing people out on the radio about it. It's all bad down in Big D. And they'll still probably win
the playoffs. Make the playoffs.
They'll make the playoffs. That's the league is that nasty.
This is a weak football. It's barely, if they're lucky to be 500, then they're still going to make the playoffs. Something needs to happen. This is sick. It's a sick puppy.
It's sick, but I have to give you credit because you called a dub, you called a game for Ram time.
Oh, yeah.
And you called that, and you said you thought they were going to give it to Seattle. I did not.
Yeah.
And, man, oh, man, was the GM Charles Green wrong on this one because
Todd Gurley.
They gave TG3 the ball.
How many carries did he get last night?
I don't know. I want to say 17 or...
It's enough. I would like to give him 25 to 30 a game just to completely demolish teams like they used to do in the good old days.
Yeah.
But
stuff him down the throat.
Yeah, stuff him down the throat. But 20 is enough. I mean...
20 carries, and then they threw to him a lot.
Yeah, and they threw to him.
I think he ended up having 113 yards.
He opens up everything. They can beat anyone, anybody, when you play Todd Gurley the right way.
And the defense looked good.
The defense complements the offense. I mean, you have to have them work together. But if
they got some rest.
They got some rest.
Get rest because
exactly.
Everybody's so worried about stopping Todd Gurley. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Jared Goff looks like he's a superstar. I mean, it all works together, man. This is synchronized swimming right now.
It is. It is. Honestly. And then we'll see if we can do that to the tune of 3 more wins, end up at 11-5, and potentially make the playoffs.
Speaking of playoffs,
because the NFC West has turned into the premier league division in the league.
Definitely, they have to play. They don't have to play Seattle. I think they have to play San Francisco one more time.
And nobody wants to play the San Francisco 49ers because they're the best team in football.
That's a tough win.
Yeah, that's a tough win. That game was remarkable, and I didn't even get to see it because they didn't show it. And just watching the highlights and watching the fantasy board was incredible.
But with football struggling, you're talking about the game between the 49ers and the Saints, right?
Yeah.
But with football struggling like they are with the schedule, you got to put on the premier games, man. We need to see that game. That's a playoff matchup.
That's a game you'd like to go to.
Yeah. So let me see it. I mean, I know it's out of my area, but people really wanted to see that game, just like we wanted to see that Kansas City Patriot game. And I wanted to see the Raven game and the Buffalo Bills, but it wasn't like I just was tearing down the TV set to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Which was also an interesting game, but unfortunately now it looks like Lamar got hurt in that. He's limited. Yeah, they're saying he may not play on Thursday. He hurt his quad.
Well, you know what? They've been getting away with it for a little while. I spoke to somebody earlier in the week talking about how the Ravens have really stayed away from injury pretty much. But now Mark Andrews is hurt. And
that cost me my game this week because I had Mark Andrews.
Oh, okay. Good.
Cost me my game, child.
Sound like you're a little bitter.
I am. I have a...
Pass me the bottle of bitters, baby.
Yeah, they gave it to me, child. And so, the Ravens look great, and I don't think Lamar Jackson is, like, in danger of missing the playoffs or anything.
No.
Who looks suspect and has looked suspect against anybody that's a real team is the New England Patriots. Boston Mike, there's APB out on you too. Boston Mike tried to mansplain me with, oh my, listen, we got a wicked good team, yeah? Nothing but mansplaining when it comes to the Pats and why they can't get it done.
And talking about them getting job, they've had one bad call in the last 20 years.
Yeah, the last 20 years.
And not that anybody should get job, but I don't want to hear you complain when something doesn't finally go your way.
Especially when your entire dynasty and legacy is built around a job call.
Yeah.
The Tuck rule was a jobbing of the highest order.
Wow, the highest order.
Highest order of job.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was an employment fair. It was a job fair.
A rule change because of the job.
Yeah. Yes. And they finally got a call, didn't go their way. And by the way, still had an opportunity to score, and the guy dropped a pass.
Well, and not only that, that would have tied the game. It wouldn't have gave them the win. So everybody always acts like it's going to give them the win, just like that Ram game back in the day. Who were they playing? Tennessee when they were playing the Houston, whatever. It would have tied the game. It wouldn't have gave them a win. And Tommy Terrific is actually not terrific anymore. Which is not his fault. He's done his thing. He's a great quarterback. He was a great quarterback. Now he's working off of instincts more so than working or knowledge more so than working off of his talent. He doesn't have a great, receiving core right now. He doesn't have a great offensive line. They're good, but they're not great. Or he's been through wars and battles, as they like to say. And one of the problems is that it caught up with them. They're not good. They're a mediocre team at best. Their defense is good, but it is not great. It's ranked as the number one defense, but I honestly would take the San Francisco 49ers defense over there. If you go back and look at the San Francisco 49ers schedule, it is way tougher almost than anybody's schedule this year. They've played...
If the Patriots don't get the bye, they're not making it to the Super Bowl.
Right, and if the Patriots had the same schedule, which I was leading to, if they had the same schedule as the 49ers, they probably would be a 500 team.
Yeah, if they played in the West, forget about it. Couple other surprises and non-surprises. The majority of the league is garbage, just plain and simple. And I'm going to throw in there, including that, the trash is included with...
You're throwing in the trash and not out the trash.
No, I'm throwing them because I have to put some teams in before I can throw them out.
Oh, okay.
And the number one team I'm putting in the trash is Green Bay. I can't wait for Green Bay to make the playoffs so that I can bet against them.
So you can be delecti eliminated.
Yeah, but to the tune of some money in my pocket. Because they're not going to beat anybody unless they play somebody like the Cowboys.
They can beat the Cowboys.
They can beat the Cowboys and they can beat the Eagles. One of those teams is going to win that division.
The Eagles are the type of team that sneaks up on you, though. The Eagles,
they are. The Eagles,
but they're trash.
The Giants, right?
They're trash. Are they?
10-3, y'all. Almost halftime.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
I told you Eli was going to come back and give me his farewell tour. He got 2 more games left. This one and the next one. And the last one is not guaranteed for him. But the thing of it is
I think Minnesota's that team that can sneak up on you.
But Minnesota's not good either.
They're not great. I really don't see any competition. I mean, to me, it really is between San Francisco, New Orleans, the Ravens, and the Chiefs.
Right. And if the Rams could sneak in there, because
the Rams can always give you a problem. But I haven't seen enough from McVay to make me a real believer. To be honest.
I agree because they're not.
Because in big games, he likes to go away from what works.
I agree. He's not consistent, and that's the problem with the Rams. But if you can get them in a primetime situation, nobody wants to see them. But between the Saints and the 49ers, there is a serious issue there. Those teams are real. Those teams are real, man.
And they're on a collision course.
Well, not only that, Seattle's tough.
Seattle is tough. You tried to front them for a long time, and they...
But I don't want to say that because Russell Wilson is a winner, but they're very, very beatable. The secondary is loose. Very, very loose. Just like the Ravens. The Ravens have a soft spot, and their soft spot is that they can't stop the run. You might be able to stop a running quarterback, but you cannot stop a running back.
And Buffalo is the team that can sneak up on you. I'm very interested to see what they do with New England.
They need an offensive coordinator over there, though.
They need somebody. They need Bill Belichick to work with that kid, Josh Allen, is what they need. Because if you haven't noticed, all of Bill Belichick's protégés are balling.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett was on my bench and balled.
Yeah, Garoppolo is doing this
balling. Yeah, man, they get you right. And up in Seattle, you see Rashad Penny has suffered that torn ACL.
He got that sprained ACL, right?
Finish him. And that was it. And there's no break in Pat Mahomes' hand. Life is good. Mike Evans needs an MRI on his hamstring, which is not a surprise. I don't
They're
even know
not
why
going
he's
anywhere anyway.
playing. Nobody's making any noise there.
They sat down Jameis Winston.
How about Ryan Tannehill coming back and showing everybody what time it is?
Ryan Tannehill's the real deal right now. What about Fitzmagic? Fitzmagic is dealing as well.
Magic. He dealt, but it wasn't as.
And he ran yesterday. Oh, it was though. He's playing with no talent. At least your boy does have Derrick Henry over there in Tennessee.
Right. Yeah, chomp. So, staying in the NFL, the NFL announced Arizona Cardinals safety Josh Shaw has been suspended for the remainder of the 2019 season and the entire 2020 season for betting on NFL games on multiple occasions this year. Shaw is currently on the injury reserve and has been there since injuring his shoulder in the preseason opener. The league discovered no manipulation of games, but ultimately,
this is oxymoronish.
Yeah, because you're going to move the Raiders to Vegas, and what I guess the dirty little secret is that, man, these guys bet on everything.
Right.
Athletes bet on everything. Most of the time, they don't bet on their own sport.
Right, or team.
Yeah, or their own team. But I wouldn't be surprised, and no one should be surprised at how many proxies these guys have to bet on themselves and on their own stuff.
And it's sick because how can you say that we're going to move to Vegas in the middle of, they call it Sin City, but it's like one of the gambling capitals of the world, and then you're going to say, hey, let's not us bet on ourselves or the games. This guy is not going to be able to manipulate any game anyway.
This guy's on the injured reserve. Honestly, I wonder if that rule extends to like FanDuel or anything like that.
Whoa, that's,
you know what I mean? Like, can those guys,
individual players that you pick on FanDuel?
This is what I'm saying. And so, can those guys not bet on that?
Either way, you don't know who's going to do what in the game, especially with football because of so many injuries and everything. I was doing great in FanDuel the whole year, and now I'm doing terrible because of injuries. So you can't call it in football because I might go out there and get concussed and I'm out the game. That means that the ref would have to be in on it. The concussion protocol people would have to be in on it. The team, I need to be in the game. There's a lot of moving parts to that. So them with this gambling thing is going too far because either you're going to be in or you're going to be out.
Well, this is the problem. They really need to, they really need to determine whether or not they want to endorse the gambling. It's not necessarily a positive thing, as everyone knows. Mm-hmm. But since they want to flirt with it, this is where the danger comes.
They're going to dip their toe in it.
Brother, dip my toe in his parlay. And it's an issue, If you guys want to give us a call and tell us what you think about the sports gambling in general, feel free. Our number is 424-254-9663. That's 424-254-ZONE. Moving into our favorite thing, and it's Major League Baseball. Even though we are rolling into winter, it is still the fall, but the winter meetings have kicked off, and man, oh man,
in big fashion,
it's already popping. Steven Strasburg, World Series MVP, is staying put, and he's going to continue dealing for the Nats.
And for big money. $245 million for 7 years. Now they're saying that Garrett Cole is imminent on signing right now, and his is supposed to be above 300. But what I'm saying is that Steven Strasburg has just went out there and won the championship.
Yeah.
Who do you think is more valuable at this point? I know that Garrett Cole looked more dominant in certain situations, but Steven Strasburg actually got the dub.
He got the dub. He went out there and shut down. You can argue one of the best offensive team, and he shut them down. Like, yes. He went 8 twice, right?
Yeah,
he gave up like 2 over 8,
and not against the Dodgers as well. 8.
No, he dominated.
Yeah, he dominated,
and that wasn't just the playoffs.
No,
Steven Strasburg dealt all year.
Yeah. And so now you're talking about a contract of $245 million, almost $250 million. So
it's so much money.
Yeah. So in that, do you think that he's worth more than Garrett Cole? Garrett Cole is supposed to. The Yankees have put so much money on the table. I think they're bidding against themselves right now.
Yeah, they are. And Boris is happy to have it.
Oh man, are you kidding?
This is right up his alley.
Are you kidding? I personally don't feel like either one of them are worth it because.
That's a lot of money to have tied up in one guy.
Yeah, literally. You have he's your whole organization that works every 5 days.
It's craziness.
It's craziness. And then you want to talk about maybe being overvalued is Zach Wheeler.
How about Zach Wheeler's dough?
$1.25? Are you crazy?
What has Zach Wheeler shown me that he deserves that?
Exactly. And the Phillies,
I've never seen Zach Wheeler deal to that extreme.
The Phillies signed him up.
Lace him up, T. but the Phillies said they had stupid money to spend.
Yeah, but you're spending stupid money stupidly.
Man, I guess that's a par for the course.
That's a lot of money to put on a Zach Wheeler, who's going to be a number 3 or 4. He's not the number 1. He's not a number 1. If he's going to be, they had predicted that he was going to be like a number 1 pitcher, but he's turning out to be a 3 or 4. And in that, you should get well, it's not up to me to say what kind of 3 or 4 money that you get, but that seems like overvalue of a 3 or 4 starting pitcher. Especially with the way that the teams are built now, because guys don't go deep into games.
Right.
So if you give a guy $1.25, then what are you asking of him?
$1.25 for 5 and dive. You're giving him $1.25 for maybe 170 innings.
I can give you a discount.
For $5.
$5.
Look at this. The Angels got Dylan Bundy, and I expect a bounce back season for him. I think that the sleeper on this thing is Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, I do too.
People forget that he was the most dominant. He was a very decent regular season pitcher. You would say he's a good regular season pitcher, but he is the greatest postseason pitcher.
Yeah.
He is lights out if you can get him there.
And if I was the Yankees, that's who I would really be banking on, especially a lefty like that. I mean, CC is retiring.
Wise is that's why they're going for Cole.
Yeah, but he's a guy that literally has not.
You're going to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
and you need a playoff guy.
You need a playoff. You need a horse, and Garrett Cole is a horse.
Yeah,
but you're talking about putting your rotation in the hands of Madison Bumgarner, Garrett Cole, and maybe not Daisuke, but your boy
Tanaka.
Yeah, Tanaka.
And you got Lou Severino, and don't sleep. You got Herman. You got Severino.
Yeah, so there you go. You got to start from. They would have to be number 1 in the league, right?
I would agree,
prediction wise,
but also, when you're tying up dough like that on a lot of these teams, like the Yankees, don't seem to care. But now they're talking about letting Didi walk.
I mean, but they have a plethora of.
They got a lot of options. They sure do.
Especially with DJ LeMahieu playing super utility now. You got a lot of room to play. You can move Torres if you want to back to shortstop, which is a natural position, and you got a lot of room to play on that team. But I really feel like since the Yankees seem to be injury prone the past few years, you would want to stick with Didi.
Yeah. I mean, how can you be mad at Didi? Didi, super clutch.
Yeah, Didi can be a DH or super utility, but they seem like they're infatuated with keeping Gardner around more so than anything.
I don't think he's going to get big money, but they do want to keep him.
Yeah.
He's the last tie to the past. And how about that deal San Diego pulled off?
Nice deal.
What's up, fam?
got Tommy fam, but they gave away your piece. You hate to see your boy walk.
I don't like to see Hunter Renfroe go because I believe that. Now, I mean, they've made moves. They picked up Drew Pomeranz. They picked up Kyle Davies, I think it was.
Kyle Davies?
Zach Davies.
Zach Davies.
Sorry. Who's Kyle Davies?
Back in the day.
Zach Davies, Drew Pomeranz, so they shore up that. This kid, Chris Paddock, has ace written all over him if you don't know who he is. He just needs to.
You will find out very, very soon.
But in picking up Tommy Pham, they pick up a guy that's a great ball player. You could argue he's a 5-tooler, but you get rid of today's muscle.
Right.
Today's slugger you had in Hunter Renfroe.
Right.
He's a guy, he's really young, that would eventually give you 40 bombs a year for a good 5 or 6 years. He's kind of like a Mark Trumbo type.
Right. If you can sandwich him in between Manny Machado and Eric Hosmer.
Just sandwich him into guys who can protect him, who can hit, because he's going to strike out a bunch.
I would go Hosmer, Machado, and Hunter, or put him in between that some kind of form or fashion, so that pitchers let up on him a little bit, or either they have to give in to pitchers.
About it now.
Yeah, now he's going to be in Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay's been looking for Thump.
They need Thump.
Yeah,
they need Thump because they got crazy arms.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's
an arms race.
It is an arms race. It's going down, child. We don't know where Rendon's going. They're talking about Lindor coming to LA. It's just mind blowing to me that the Dodgers talk about Corey Seager like he's never was.
Yeah,
just unbelievable.
Josh
Donaldson's going.
Cole Hamel went to the Braves.
Oh yeah, this is Amel got a deal with the Braves. What else? There's been a lot of moves going on,
and there's more to come.
And the best is yet to come. Come the day of mine. Yeah, and once again, if you go on the front page, Major League Baseball is talking about diversity and inclusion at the top. I'll believe it when I see it, folks. Baseball has a long ways to go.
Yeah, they've been talking about that for the last 10, 15 years, huh?
Long ways to go, Tom. And but shout out to the homie, because Adam Jones is in talks to play in Japan. He's looking at signing a monster deal.
Really?
In Japan. Yeah.
That's good for him.
That is good for him. I like to see people play as long as they can. And if remember last year, nobody wanted to give him a job.
Yeah, and they disrespected him. I think his numbers were decent. They weren't great. But if you're giving Zach Wheeler $1.25,
come on, man. You counted Adam Jones. You counted Adam Jones, if nothing else, just for defense.
Right.
He can still go get it.
Apparently not. They don't feel like it. They're so stuck on Garrett Cole. I love Garrett Cole's work, but man, he pitches every 5 days.
I need a guy that plays every day.
If I'm going to put down that kind of cheese, you're going to put down almost $500 million on this dude, and you're talking about every 5 days. I mean, once we hear the final numbers, we'll be able to break down what he's making per game, but I can tell you it's going to be sick with it.
It's going to be through the roof. And anybody that's hesitating to give Madison Bumgarner his $100 million, because he's looking for $100 million over 5 years, why would you not give him? If Zach Wheeler is worth, potential-wise, after Tommy John and X, Y, and Z, worth $1.25, a 3-time world champion, top 10 Cy Young Award.
Is he 30 years old?
He may be, like, let's see how old he is. I know he's not. If he is, he's just barely over it.
Because at this point, he's in better condition than Clayton Kershaw.
Yo, no question. Because his stuff is still, his stuff is still the same. Why won't they tell us his age? Yeah, he's 30 years old.
Yeah.
No. He's thrown nearly 2,000 innings at the major league level.
And a lot of times what the ERA doesn't reflect is the team that you're playing on.
Because he's been playing on garbage teams since he won the World Series.
Exactly. And playing in the pitcher's stadium, but on garbage teams.
And they had one chance that year that the Cubs won in 2016, matter of fact. And they could have beat the Cubs. He dealt, as a matter of fact.
Of course.
And Johnny Cueto dealt, too.
Of course.
And then the team let him down. Your boy let him down bad.
Who
was the pitcher on this squad that let him down? Oh, my goodness. I want to say Matt Moore pitched well that time. There's a couple people who were brain dead on the team. And we talked about it a lot. I can't remember it right now. It'll come back to me. There was some bad work that took place.
Drew Pomeranz.
Somebody was laughing out there when they were making errors in the outfield. And they got rid of him, too.
Yeah.
I don't remember who that was, but he was like laughing. He's like trying to laugh it off. There was sloppy baseball was why they lost that series, because they took them the distance. They took them 4 and they could have took them 5, but they blew a game late, and that's when Hunter Strickland and all those guys. That's when they realized they had a terrible bullpen.
Right, it's just not acceptable
because it was going to be Game 5 in Wrigley Field with Johnny Cueto on the bump.
That was 2 years ago.
That was 2016.
Okay,
because 2015 they won it all. 16 the Cubs won it all.
Because Matt Moore wasn't on the team then.
He wasn't there yet?
No, he just went there last year.
Oh, okay. Who was that? There was somebody who was playing games. It really bothers me. All right, John. You got anything else for the people?
We'll give them some later on.
Yeah, we'll give you more. We're going to try to give you more content more frequently. Chop it up short. Start it off slow. Speed it up. And then speed it up. All right, folks, I want to leave you with a quote about a UNITY. You got to let them know UNITY. There's a fantastic quote for you. And it is, no doubt, unity is something to be desired, to be striven for, but it cannot be willed by mere declarations. Folks, you need actions in this world. Get out there, get busy, and be alive. Help each other out because we're all in this thing together. I'm your host, Omar Miller, and this is the Ozone.
Ozone.
I'm just living the dream.